I think I keep saying I need to change that. Every time my live starts, I look at the intro that I have and I'm just like, I have to change that. I don't, and then I never do. I get up when I'm done. I end up pretty much hopping off and going and doing other things, usually tending to my dog. So anyway, I have to remember one of these times to change the intro and change some other things on there. Hello, how are you? It's Wednesday. We're going to talk about all things spirituality, which seems like a really big topic, but we're going to talk about it from the embodied sense of it, not the escaping your body space. So if those types of things interest you, stick around. And we're going to, I'm going to check in on the collective energy with my cards. That's the other thing I'm going to do, which I'm actually going to do that first. So I'm going to check in on the energy of the collective with the cards. And then we're going to, after that, talk about spirituality and from an embodied space. Okay. You're like, it's your channel. Exactly. Exactly. But if those things don't align with you, then, don't waste your time, right? If you're not into spirituality, then why would you stick around, right? So I like to just give you what you're going to be expecting, and that way you're not wasting your time. All right, I have to do some sharing on TikTok, and I have 2 channels, so just give me a second to share and let people know that I am online. Mm-hmm. And then my dog's snoring. That's hilarious. My dog is snoring. So I'm just going to share it out to a few people on my list. You got to send it out there, and that one for sure. Yeah, we'll take that one and do that one. There. Hello. Okay, I got to move my keyboard so that I can do the reading. I'm going to check in using my own deck of cards, which is the Etherian Tarot. So it's like a standard tarot deck, except it includes the ether element, and it also includes a card called the Cosmic Key. And so anyway, this is the deck that I'm going to use. And speaking of the Cosmic Key, that's the Cosmic Key. Okay, so I'm going to check in on the energy. And remember, this is collective energy. So it may apply to you and it may not, but you may know people who are experiencing this type of energy. And before I start, all right. Can I get a good message about the energy of the collective, please, source? No. We all know how the collective is. I don't need cards to tell you, right? We know what the collective energy is like. And as I was shuffling, I heard, that you don't need the cards to tell them the message, right? Like we know what's going on. Hang on. I have to check something going on here. I also stream on, okay, that was weird. An untitled page came up over top of, hi, I'm from Canada too. How do you feel about the world right now? What's the things that are 444 on the timer? Yeah, I would like to have a conversation today. And from that conversation, explore other things. right? I had a conversation with a lady the other day. She wanted to, I did like this little interview for her group. And it's a 15-minute interview, but her and I talked for 2 hours. And she was like, I could talk to you for 5 more or probably 5 days. And so that reminds me of the fact that I would like to talk with you guys. I don't want to just sit here and speak to you, right? It'd be nice to have conversation like that, you know? All right. Well, we're going to check in on the energy of the collective and talk about what that's like. We're going to see what's going on for everybody. And like I said, the cards will tell you different things. You may align with some of it. Then that's just the message that you're here to receive is all that it is. Okay. So let's see what the cards are going to say. Whoa. Oh, all right. Is that everything, Spirit? Is that everything, Source? Okay. That is that. And there might be a nod out to that card. There was another card that stuck its head out and peeked at me that I need to call out because there's a reason why I saw it. And I thought right as I saw it, I should have pulled it, picked it. It is the Empress card. So, I mean, even if I don't find it, I know I know the message that it has, but I'd like you to see the image that's associated with it because the image also carries messages in there. Okay. All right. I've got all the cards. I should have pulled it. Wouldn't stop telling me I needed to have the card out. Somebody needs a message that's on that card, and that's what it is. So the way that I do it is I pull cards to talk about the energy that the collective is experiencing right now. And some of it will seem very positive and some of it will seem negative. And you're going to receive the message for wherever you are in your life that you need to receive because it's a collective message. And it's meant to be broad. So I'm giving you a bunch of different cards and it's up to you to determine which is the message that you're meant to hear. And you don't have to force it. Now, if you want an individual reading, you can go to my website and book an individual reading, not a problem. But on here I do, okay, I'm just checking to see what all the cards are here that we're dealing with. Okay. All right, I'm going to, which one do I want to start with? Let's start with this one. All right, so the first card that came out, or not even the first card that came out, but one of the cards that came out is the Two of Earth. And the Two of Earth was reversed. So this is where we're overwhelmed, financial instability, poor planning, difficulty juggling responsibilities, right? So many of us are in that space. You may not be in that space. And if you're not, that's awesome. I'm happy that you're not dealing with financial instability, right? That's beautiful. But there are many people in the world right now that are in fact dealing with that. And as prices continue to rise, but salaries don't, and it's going to get harder, right? More people are going to experience this thing. So the Two of Earth invites you to dance with life's shifting energies rather than resist them. Whether balancing work, relationships, or finances, stay flexible and trust your abilities to manage it all with grace. The key is harmony, not perfection. And it is about balance. That's one of the biggest things about the card. And we have to balance our spirituality. We have to balance our finances. We have to balance our body, our mind, our spirit, right? Like there's a lot of things that we're balancing. And it's not about doing it perfectly is the key to pick up there. It's about doing it in harmony or throughout, you balance overall. Okay, what's the next card that I want to speak about? Let's talk about the Three of Air. So the Three of Air came out, and you may be experiencing this. It is talking about heartbreak, deep realization, necessary pain, emotional clarity, acceptance, and relief. Hi, Monkey D. Thank you for supporting Hugs. Thank you very much. I appreciate you. Okay. So somebody may be experiencing this, that the Three of Air, although it brings you discomfort, it is also the card of liberation. It is the storm that clears stagnation, making space for renewal. Trust that what is revealed is what is meant to set you free, right? If we don't know what's going on, I'm going to use a really bad example, and I apologize, but I got a better one. Okay. What if your company was going under and all the management knew, but they didn't tell the employees, right? Knowing that information, like as much as that would be disruptive to your life, that's the kind of information that this could be. And if you look at it as the opportunity to get out of that place before, right, before they do announce it, right, that would be something akin to what this card represents, right? Sometimes the information, if we just let the information arrive, I have to put those over there. They're the two that I've finished. Let's do the Hanged Man in the reverse. All right. So some individuals that are going to listen to this, watch this. This is the message that you need to receive in this moment. Okay. So when the Hanged Man is in reverse, it is speaking of resistance to change, feeling stuck, refusing to see another viewpoint, clinging to old patterns, and fear of letting go. The Hanged Man reminds you that sometimes the greatest action is inaction. Embrace the fire, let yourself be transformed, and trust that that in this moment of stillness, I can't even read what it says. I can't read my own writing. That's crazy. Oh, it's because the transformation in this moment of stillness, transformation has already taken place. That's what it says. So the Hanged Man, this is a different perspective that comes in, and many of us needed to receive that, right? We needed to get that different perspective. And those that are resisting it, they're the ones that are stuck within this Hanged Man dilemma here, where they are refusing to change. There's the fear of moving forward. And there's a lot of people in society that are resisting that. You can see the truth over and over and over and over again presented to you, but they're not seeing it. And that's because they're resistant to change. It goes against their cognitive bias, and that's, uncomfortable. There's a fear of change. So because this happens, this is what we're seeing with a lot of society. So we need to know that, the transformation is going to happen. It's still going to happen. It's all good. All right. Or the Four of Fire. Let's talk about this one. So the Four of Fire was also in the reverse. So somebody needs to hear this message, and maybe this applies to someone that maybe you're experiencing it. This is talking about instability, impatience, lack of recognition, feeling disconnected from progress. So this is energetically, this is the fire represents like your passion, like it's the get up and go, it's your dedication, your motivation. It's, it's the action element, right? And so when we're looking at this thank you. When we're looking at this Four of Fire, the Four of Fire is calling you to pause. Okay. It wants you to pause. It wants you to celebrate the things that are going right in your life. And that can sometimes be challenging, right? When everything's going wrong and, and things are really unstable, and, you're dealing with all this chaos out there, it may seem almost, like really challenging to become positive or to, celebrate the good things in your life. But if you don't celebrate the good things in your life, what you focus on grows. There's so much out there about how we are biomagnetic beings. So if that feels awkward to you, stick around, because I'll open your mind even more. And it's true, right? I do not, there's lots of things that I don't have. And when people look at my life from the outside, they probably think, oh, wow, her life is amazing. And she must have ... They don't know the reality of my life. And the thing is, though, is I'm very, very grateful for my life. I have so much gratitude for everything that I have in it. It's a pretty picture. It's a pretty picture. That doesn't tell you anything. And so anyway, right, we need to celebrate the good things, and we have to honor how far we've come. I was talking when I did this interview for a podcast the other day, I was talking about how honor your foundation. I'm like, where is that going with this honor your foundation? You have to be proud of where you've come from, right? You have to, oh, that's what it was. I figured it out. Love you. Have a wonderful night. Thank you for hanging out. So when you honor your foundation, what that was cueing me into, oh my gosh, I'm losing it because I said goodbye again. Sometimes channeling is fun. Sometimes memories are fun. No, I'm just kidding. So if you thought that you could never heal, you would never begin. Why would you? Right? What would be the benefit? Why would I run a race if I knew that I would never finish it? Right? I would never do that. There's so many people out there that keep talking about how you never finish healing. And for someone that maybe hasn't started or is very early in their journey, that might be a very daunting thought. I'm going to be doing this forever. I'm never going to not be doing this. But I wanted to explain, like, you actually do heal. People seem to think that if you ever get triggered, that means that you're not healed. And that's not true, right? You can heal your traumas, so they're not keeping you up at night. They're not disturbing your relationships. They're not affecting your workplace. But you could still have your nervous system overwhelmed because of a number of things happening back to back to back to back that just overwhelmed you so quickly, right? Like if I'm like if I'm all healed and I run into a bear in the woods and it triggers my nervous system and I like freeze and something like that, that doesn't mean I'm not healed. That means I just entered into a situation that was very threatening, and I went into survival mode. So when you think about the fact that the healing journey does get to a point where you are at peace, where you are emotionally regulated, where your general life is calm, where your general mood is content, where you treat yourself with compassion, where you have a really great toolkit for when things do go wrong, because you can't be guaranteed the way that life is going to be. So healing is possible. You get to that point, and then when something happens, you just have to learn to take accountability, right? There may be consequences to if you did get dysregulated all of a sudden, right? There could be consequences, but you just have to deal with that like a mature adult with a regulated nervous system. And that's the best way to do it. It's the best way to do it. All right. So that 4 of fire is all about celebrating, to bask in all the things that you've created. Be proud of the things that you've created. And if you're saying you're not creating anything or you're not proud of the things that you've created, well, then do something to change that. These cards are just meant to give a message, and maybe that's the message, is that it's time for you to do the things that you came here to do. This card is the 6 of fire, and it also was in the reverse. So this may be a message that you need to hear. In the reverse, it talks about an inner victory, self-validation, and it can also and fear of the spotlight. So it can vary between those two ranges. And maybe you're someone that's celebrating internally and you're just waiting, right? It's kind of like the woman that gets pregnant and she doesn't tell anyone until she's in her third trimester. Victory and celebrating yourself, but you're not sharing it externally, or the validation isn't coming from the external source. It's just coming from you. You're validating yourself, which is beautiful. We have the other side of it, that imposter syndrome or the fear of the spotlight. If that's something that you're dealing with, then you have to understand why those exist and then do little tiny things as stress tolerance to allow yourself to be able to do that. If that's something that you're interested in doing, right? If you needed to be in the spotlight, find out the way to move beyond whatever that fear is. All right, we have, let's do the Ace of Air because it was the first card and it was in the inverted. So when it's in the reverse, the Ace of Air is about confusion. It's about self-doubt. And it is, I'm just going to show it closer to these guys. It's a very light card. Mental clarity, sorry, it was confusion, self-doubt, illusions, clouding judgment, difficulty seeing the truth. And we can see this collectively. There's a lot of people that are experiencing confusion, that have it's just, there's so much going on, and it's just an inundation of more and more and more information, more and more and more. This is happening there, and this is happening there, and oh my God, that, and oh my God, that, and disclosure this, and whatever, right? It's just so much stimulation. Like, we are literally being overwhelmed with information. So we have to remember to disconnect from that, go outside. It's, put your feet on the earth, disconnect from everything. Give yourself 3 minutes a day with absolutely no input, no talking, no phone, no TV, no music, nothing. Silence, and just sitting there for 3 minutes. You can do that once a day and give yourself that little bit of peace, right? That would be really nice. Okay, so we're seeing that with the Ace of Air. The Seven of Air is an entirely different card. The Seven of Air, when it is inverted, it's speaking of clarity. So some of us are getting very clear. We know what the truth is. And, we're doing things, we're researching, we are aligned with ourselves, we are embodying our truth, we are, doing the spiritual work, we are living and walking and talking the talk, right? Like, we are actually embodying the spirituality, or we're embodying the leadership aspect. Okay. So this is also about breaking through deception. And there's many of us that are seeing beyond the veil. And maybe this is the message for you, because maybe you're the person that's seeing beyond the veil. You're seeing the show for what it is. You're seeing that it really is sensual acting. And, the casting is really interesting. And the shows are very entertaining. And, so many of us are in that space where we're breaking free from all of that. And we are standing in that personal integrity, right? So that could be you. You could be the one that needed to know that you're being seen for that. All right. And then we have the Empress. And many of us are experiencing that creativity that's coming from that, because when you're aligned, you are creative. And this divine feminine energy, we're seeing the rise of that in the collective. And because this is a reading for the collective, this is the energy it's creating. When the divine feminine energy rises, we see a rise in creativity. There's a rise in abundance. And the abundance can be very nurturing abundance. The abundance is through receiving, which many of us, we've been stuck so long in our masculine where we were go, go, go. We were trying to get it. Now we're just trying to sip. We're just letting it come to us is the energy of the divine feminine. This is like, it's very fertile time. There's nurturing energy. There is collaboration. There is love and connection to nature, divine feminine, like I said, power and growth. It's just really a beautiful card. She's here to remind you of your infinite creative potential. Whether you are bringing forth new life, new ideas, or new energy, trust that you are supported by the divine flow of the universe. Okay. So that's the collective energy that I got from the cards for today, which is Wednesday, May 27th. Can you believe it? It sure went fast. It sure went fast. I keep saying to myself, because this is an important thing to do, I keep saying to myself that I always have more than enough time. I always have more than enough time. I always have more than enough time. All right, so what was I going to talk about today? I was going to talk about embodied spirituality. But I don't really know if that's like exactly what I'm going to do with the content, like what exactly I'm going to talk about within that. All right. Hello, guys. Say hello. Stay and hang out. I had like this really magical day today. And it's interesting because not everybody would agree and not everybody sees the same things, right? But I was walking along and I turned to my right, and you know when trees grow those the like it's almost, I'm not sure, I think it could be mushroom, but it's actually it gets that growth on the bark of the tree that extends out. And when I turned and looked at it, it looked like a face. And I ran through the bush getting a video of it, and then I took pictures of it. And I wish I could show you, Jenny, but it's on the phone that it's on that device. So I can't show you it. But I was just like, oh my God, it's a tree spirit. It's a tree spirit. And when you looked at the face, I could still see it. I could completely see the face in it and everything. It was so cool. So I shared it with my girlfriends. But when I shared it with another friend who's also a guy, but I was like, can you see it? And they're like, no. And I'm like, no, what do you mean? And I'm like, even from the front? Nope. Okay. And I was just like, and so that's just the difference, right? Some people see things differently, very much so. Do we want to talk about emotional awareness? Do we want to talk about the Christic embodiment method, which is looking at the multidimensional chakra system? Do we want to look at, what do you want to talk about, guys? We want to talk about, guys? We could talk about somatics. We could talk about, let's see, where do I go? Do I have some notes on some stuff? Do I have some? We could talk about the spine as antenna. That is a double-sided question. Okay, because I'll explain. Yes, You will marry the woman that you love, because you're not going to marry somebody that you don't love, right? When you get married, it will be to somebody that you love, but you're picturing somebody right now and meaning, will I marry the woman that you love right now? And you want me to tell you if that's going to happen. Do you think that you're worthy of her? Is, like our thing, like, there's so many things. So what I did a I don't do questions like that because one, it's two people, it's you and her, and I don't do readings for people for other people. You know what I mean? So that's why I said, yeah, you'll get married and you'll marry the woman that you love. Is that going to be this person here? Maybe. I mean, the card that came out does say that it's coherent, which means that it's in alignment, right? Everything is working together smoothly. Proceed. This is aligned. So that's the message. It's aligned. So that would be a yes. I tell people I just give you the card that comes out. Whatever the card comes out, it may apply to the question that you ask, but I don't answer questions for other people. Look, proceed. You are clear to continue. Take the next step. So are you dating? How long? So when are you going to ask her to marry you? Hi, Craig. I should do it like this and like try to look at your eyes. Hi, Craig, instead of at your name. I do that all the time, which makes it look like I am looking down. Really? Oh, yay. That's exciting. That's very exciting. I wish you all the best. Right? An aligned and beautiful future. Most harmonious. You're welcome. You're welcome. How are you doing, Craig? How's your healing journey going, friend? He might have left already. 333 on the timer. All 4 threes. Threes are good numbers. Hi, Reserve. Hi, Paula. All right. I am going to talk about a couple of things, and I am then going to hop off. And that's that. So I talk about embodied spirituality. I talk about things from the sense of you have to embody it, you have to ground, you have to live it every day. It's not about your spirituality isn't the big moments when you go and have an ayahuasca journey. Your spiritual moments are how you live every day of them, like every day. And that's moment to moment to moment. So yeah, I would like to talk about embodied spirituality, or spirituality from the grounded and embodied and lived sense of it. And that can be a very broad topic for sure. Yeah. So is there anything in particular that you would like to talk about? Okay, so we're going to talk about the Christic embodiment method. This is looking at a variety of aspects of you. In the sense that when we're looking at the chakra system, I'm looking at it as a multidimensional thing because you are multidimensional. You are also multigalactic, but that's something that we'll learn. Everyone will learn soon enough. So when we're looking at the chakra system, it is not a fixed number structure. It's multidimensional fractal energy architecture. It's not limited to 7 chakras, and it is not accurately represented by 330 separate chakras either. It's best understood as core gates through that are expressing across layers of consciousness when we're talking about our energetic layers, right? So the purpose is not accumulation, but integration and coherence. That's what we're trying to do with our chakras. So the 50, what we have 50 core energetic gates. These are not points. Okay, they're functional interfaces between consciousness and embodiment. And each gate represents a frequency band, a function of perception or creation, and a mode of interaction with reality. And these gates are organized through patterning, not a vertical ladder alone. It's not just, go from your root to your crown or, up into your soul star or down into the earth star and so on and so forth. It's about you'll see. So you do not activate more and more chakras. You stabilize and integrate the system that already exists. Okay. So we'll talk about each of the 50 core gates expresses through multiple layers of human energy system. These layers can be, I'll talk about each of the layers, but they can be understood functionally. And this is why the 330 appears, even though there's not 330 different chakras. Okay. So the first layer that we have is our physical, which is also the planetary layer. This is your nervous system, this is your body regulation, and this is your survival and grounding. Then we move to the next layer, which is your emotional and relational layer. This is where we have bonding, attachment patterns, and emotional processing. The next is the mental and cognitive layer. This is where we have our thought patterns, our meaning making, and our belief systems. The next layer is the 4th layer, and we are looking at our identity or our archetypal layer. This is our roles, personal identities, and expression. The 5th is our transpersonal and collective layer. So this is where we're looking at group fields, we're looking at shared consciousness, and we're looking at cultural influence. On the 6th non-local and collective layer, this is where we're looking at group fields, cultural influence, and shared consciousness. That was number 5. Number 6 is the non-local awareness layer. And this is where we are looking at direct perception, intuition, and non-linear knowing. And then 7 is the unintegrated, it's a latent layer. So it's only partially expressed. And that's because it's not fully stabilized yet. It appears as fragmentation or distortion when it's accessed prematurely. So when people attempt to map each expression as a separate chakra, it creates an inflated system like 333. But these are actually just reflections of the same gates, not new structures. So there's only 50 gates mapped out or that are just layered out across each of your energetic bodies. They're just expressed differently through the energetic layer. The way that you express the chakra through the mental layer is different than through the physical layer, as an example. I forgot to pop my comments out on my thing. All right. Okay. Right. So why systems break down? So why do your energy systems break down? Why do your chakras get out of alignment, right? The reason why these energy systems destabilize, or when these energy systems destabilize, when environment is disconnected from natural regulation. So when we spend a lot of time indoors, when somebody that's waking up at nighttime, the fact that our calendars are off, so many things, like we don't operate ourselves through the window of time the way that we should. Our calendars were changed. We don't even know the true year. That, there's so many things. So that environment, we are disconnected from that. We have artificial lighting, we have rubber on our feet to disconnect us from the earth. We walk on pavement and concrete. We live in buildings that aren't grounded. Like everything that's in the house gets grounded, but you, like, right? And you should be the thing that gets grounded. The other reason why, or the other times when the energy system destabilizes, is when your nervous system is overloaded. Well, how often is our nervous system overloaded these days, right? That we're inundated with things that are meant to make us feel afraid or angry or sad. Like how many times is our empathy pulled away from us? And the funny thing is the more that you learn about things like casting and, crisis casting, or, there's stuff that you can look into, and you can find all kinds of interesting things out there about the way that life is. And, so your nervous system is constantly being inundated. There's so much information coming in, and the fact that we can't shut down from things, or many of us can't. I don't have a problem with that. But there are quite a few out in society who their nervous system is just completely overloaded. It's go, 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 do, do, do. It's constant stimulus, and you never have an opportunity to just not be receiving information, right? And sometimes you just need to sit in stillness and quiet. Another reason why the energy systems destabilize, or when the nervous system, or the chakra system, but when it destabilizes, is when your identity is fragmented. And we see this now, like there is so much coming at us where they are literally trying to confuse us about what right? Or, like there's a push to merge with machine, or, to make our identity like the biggest thing about us. And it's flexible and changing, and it has nothing to do with anything biology. Like these are things that are being done in order to fragment us. It's the same thing when they get you looking outside of yourself, thinking constantly that there's something wrong with you. Everybody that thinks that they have to go and get plastic surgery, or they need to be on this diet, or they need to have this pill, or they need to have these dyes, or whatever. They're constantly chasing something outside of them because their identity has been fragmented. And it also leads to the next one, which is that meaning is externally imposed. So we're not getting our meaning from ourselves. We're not validating or coming to a point where we appreciate ourselves. We appreciate our lives. We take responsibility for where we are within our lives and where collectively we are, right? When things are happening, some people can take responsibility because they refuse to open their eyes at all. Some people can take responsibility because when they did open their eyes, maybe they didn't make enough noise, right? But at the same time, we're moving along as we're moving along. But when we have all of these things put external to us, like we're only valuable if we're productive, right? How many people that have the notion that somehow someone deserves to be homeless simply because they don't work hard enough, or they don't fit in the current structure? There's a multitude of reasons why individuals do become homeless, far beyond just addiction. But that is one factor. And when you dissect addiction, which Many of us have. It's just unfortunately that the addiction that they chose to have is one that actually ruined their lives or took away their home or made it difficult for employment. Because stop using your phone for 24 hours, put it away, don't touch it. And don't tell me that you are not addicted to something. There's something that many of us are addicted to. Lots of us are addicted to TV. Many of us are addicted to gossip. Several of us are addicted to porn. There's people that are addicted to food. There's people that are addicted to all kinds of things. But we judge the drugs, and that's just their way of numbing out. We numb out in different ways. Maybe you smoke pot. That's a drug that's okay to numb out with, right? It's just what we've been socially taught to be okay with. Now, yes, there are things in society that absolutely will ruin a person's life, and through ruining their lives, affect other people's lives, and that's a tragedy. I worked as an emerge nurse for over 20 years, and I have a nonprofit called Hugs for Homeless. So, I understand these factors from a very intimate and personal and also different viewpoint. So, but I don't want to focus on that. Our meaning gets externally exposed all the way from the beginning, where we are searching. We have to go through a church to get to God. We have to go through, we have to give our sovereignty to government. Like, there's all these ways that our meaning has been externally imposed. And so, this is what breaks down our whole entire energy system, our chakra system, and it puts us into this dysregulated state. And many of us are dysregulated all the time. Some of us are dysregulated part of the time. Some of us are dysregulated a little bit of the time. Very few of us are never dysregulated. It's not something that you're probably going to achieve, right? Like, because it's pretty hard to predict that something crazy wouldn't just happen and it would overwhelm your nervous system. Right. I watched a show once, I was an emerge nurse and I did all kinds of trauma training and I taught people. I worked as a flight nurse, flew around the world. So I had a lot of wonderful experiences and a lot of awesome education and got to watch a lot of different, scenarios on crises and stuff like that. But, I watched one and this woman, she was dealing with trauma because when a hurricane hit her island, she froze. She went into she just flopped. She almost completely lost consciousness. She couldn't do anything. She had no muscle tone whatsoever. And that can happen when your nervous system is overwhelmed. There's nothing that she could have done, to prevent it. The only thing that she could do would be to learn from it, because there's no way that how could you have changed that? You didn't know that was going to happen. It happened. Now your system's overwhelmed. She was just in panic because she didn't know how to, she thought her kids, right? And so anyway, it overwhelmed her nervous system, and that just created so much trauma because she froze and couldn't do anything. And she lost her muscle tone. Right. And so we need to, those things are experiences to learn, but no matter what, how healthy or how healed you are, there's still always the opportunity, or the unfortunate opportunity it would be, but to have your system overwhelmed. And, so there's the potential that you will need tools, for the rest of your life, but that doesn't mean that you're not healed. And I keep trying to reiterate that to people. Okay. So instead of chasing activation with your chakra system, the Christic Embodiment method, which is my method, is about regulation, coherence, capacity, expression, and then integration across all the layers. So regulation is about stabilizing the body first. So that is your breath, your posture, and your environment. Number 2 is coherence. So this is to align your thoughts, your emotions, and your actions, and to reduce the internal contradiction. So internal contradiction would be, I should quit smoking. I don't smoke. But right, I should quit smoking, and then keep lighting up. And when you go at war with yourself, that's worse That's incoherence, because your thoughts are going back and forth, back and forth. That's an internal contradiction. So you're out of coherence when that's happening. So the choice there is to either accept what you're doing and align with that, or change it to align with the not smoking, right? Like those are your choices. All righty. So the third one is capacity. So this is expanding what the system can hold without dysregulation. We don't do that by jumping into the deep end right away. Like if you were terrified of the water, we're not throwing you off a 3-foot diving board, right? If you're afraid of water, how about I don't know, go to a fountain, right? We would talk about where your base level is. Like, where is the level that you're comfortable with? Like, are you terrified of water in the tap, in the shower? Like, is it difficult to have baths? Like, that's a different thing than, I just can't go swimming. Like the open water is terrifying. Well, okay, maybe we can start with a pool, right? Like, that's the capacity training. And so you do it in steps while soothing, regulating, right? You keep going back and forth in that space so that you expand what the system can hold without dysregulation. 4 is expression. This is about using the system in real life, because it's only when you can you can use the system while you're going through your life day to day. That's the only way that it's going to work. You have to live it, right? You have to embody it. So this is all about, it's in your voice, it's in your creations, it's in your leadership, it's expressed through you, the truth, right? You are standing in your truth. You are, you're staying regulated and integrated throughout it. And then the integration across the layers, which is 5, is about the same gate with multiple expressions. So gate 1 will express across all 7 layers differently, even though it's still just one gate. The way that you express gate 1 in your physical versus expressing gate 1 in your emotional or your mental or they're just different. And the whole point is to bring them into alignment. So that's why I said that the thought, you have to have your thoughts, emotions, and actions aligned, because that's bringing it into coherence as well. So the common distortions are that more chakras equals more advanced, but the more that you complicate a system, it makes it more difficult for people to actually embody it, to follow it, to stick with it. And so it's not effective. The other distortion is you must activate higher layers first, which isn't true, because stability is going to begin within your body. It's what is connected to the present moment, right? And that's the only moment that's happening. Everything else is a figment of the imagination, really. Whether it's imagining the future or remembering the past, it's all in your mind. The only thing that is real in this moment is your body. So you have to connect to your body, which is why embodied spirituality is necessary. Okay, we're not meant to leave our body. All right, so overpopulation causes collapse. The disconnection and artificial systems cause collapse. So what started me down the path of the multidimensional chakra system and all of this other stuff, but I was in I was looking at the study they had about rat population. I think it was rats that they used. It might have been mice, but I'm pretty sure it was rats. And what they found was that once they got over 100 rats, that the rats would start to degrade society, right? So they came up with this idea that once you had more than 100 members in a society, the society would start to fail, or a hierarchy would be created. All of these things would happen, right? And that's not actually true, because they can say, well, they had everything that they needed. They had food, they had water, they had, everything that they needed, but they didn't have a natural environment. They didn't have all the space that they wanted. They didn't have the natural movements that rats would have, right? When male rats are born into a brood, typically when they get to a certain age, they'll go off to create their own if there are no viable mates within their own collective. So it's not just that the rats got to 100 and then society fails every time. It's you didn't look at the natural conditions. So the rats weren't in their natural condition as much as you were faking it for them. They did not get to expand their area when they got to a certain size, which they would have. You know, you can say that you gave them everything that they wanted, but you didn't give them freedom to leave when they got to a certain age and would have decided to go off on their own. There's lots of things that weren't natural. So it's not a great example. It's not accurate. All right, so that's what led me down this path. And I can't even explain how I got from there to the multidimensional chakra system, but here we are. So I now teach about the 50 gates, and I have a functional mapping framework. So we're going to talk about the framework that I have for these particular gates. Maybe another day. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I have to give myself one more. Oh. Okay, perfect. I have to do that. All right, I'm going to hop off because that is enough for me. I love you guys. Have a wonderful night, and I will see you guys on today's Wednesday, right? Saturday. I'll be back on Saturday for the global meditation. Saturday, we do return to center, and during return to center, we do a global check-in, and then we do a global meditation. And this starts at 10 a.m. Mountain. So we'll do return to center. Like I said, the return to center portion of the show is actually about the collective check-in, and I check in with you guys too and see what you're dealing with, if you need any guidance on anything. And then we go into the global meditation where we meditate for unity, love, truth, and peace. Yeah, peace, love, unity, and truth. And also to raise the vibration of Mother Gaia and everybody, and ascend us to our highest timeline. So that is what I do during the meditation on Saturday. Oops, I hit the button. Hi, Carol. How are you, love? I don't know why. I think I almost whispered. I was like, hi, Carol. How are you doing, love? I had a super magical moment. Super magical moment today. I keep thinking one day I will have rubbed off all the ink that I can off of these cards, but not yet. Not yet. All right, guys, I'm out. Love you. Have a wonderful night. Night. See you on Wednesday, I think. Why is that not showing apparently I'm not allowed. Bye, guys. Have a wonderful night.